A summit is now set for President Trump and Vladimir Putin to meet in person in Alaska next week.
Madeline Rivera joins us live from Washington with those details. Maddie, what do you have for us?
Good morning. That's right. So this meeting would be President Putin's first time in the U.S. in 10 years, and it is a significant development. But there are major obstacles in the way of a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. The biggest sticking point is over land. Per the Wall Street Journal, Russia wants Ukraine to hand over its eastern region.
It's very complicated, but we're going to get some back. We're going to get some switched. There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both.
But the Ukrainian constitution mandates a national referendum for any territorial concessions, meaning Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky can't unilaterally authorize any changes over land.
No one will retreat from this, and Ukrainians will not give their land to the occupier. Any decisions that are against us, any decisions that are without Ukraine, are at the same time decisions against peace. They will not achieve anything. These are dead solutions. They will never work.
It's unclear if a trilateral meeting between President Trump, Putin, and Zelensky will happen. That was the initial plan after a bilateral meeting between Putin and Trump, but Putin has dismissed the idea of meeting with Zelensky. There was another truce the president had in mind on Friday, though. The president presided over the signing of a peace framework between Armenia and Azerbaijan to end more than 3 decades of conflict.
This is tangible result of President Trump's leadership, and no one could have achieved that. So who, if not President Trump, deserves the Nobel Peace Prize? Trump in 6 months did miracle.
The White House says the president deserves the Nobel Peace Prize for ending conflicts between Thailand and Cambodia, Israel and Iran, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, India and Pakistan, among others. He's still working, though, on adding Ukraine and Russia to that list. Charlie, Rachel, Ingrid.
An impressive list, about a half a dozen bloody conflicts. Maddie Rivera, live for us in Washington.
Thanks,
Maddie, thank you.
Thanks,
really, to the Azerbaijani president's point, like the case for President Trump to get the Nobel Peace Prize is becoming irrefutable. If you even set your politics aside, in 200 days, the number of bloody conflicts that have been in the making for decades, and in a very serious incident, India and Pakistan were headed to a very dangerous place. Those are two nuclear
that could have been
powers.
A nuke war for sure.
But that's not the only one. Literally, as Maddie was pointing out, you go back to Rwanda and Congo, Cambodia and Thailand, and, Syria and Israel. People forget about that. And, now this people hear, the conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia, that you can't underscore actually how serious of accomplishment that is. That is a very bloody conflict that is 3.5 decades in the making after Armenia declared independence in 1991. They have been fighting because Azerbaijan is cut off to access to Turkey because of Armenia in the middle. And what is now the solution is literally going to be a, quote, Trump route. Now, it's a framework. It's not all done. But this Trump route would allow Azerbaijan to get to Turkey. It sounds like something you probably haven't heard about unless you follow that conflict. But this was a major 3.5-decade-old agreement. And that's why the Azerbaijani president's saying, hey, you know what? This guy deserves the Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, and of course, a normal media would have recognized his accomplishments in Israel and the Middle East in his first term with the Abraham Accords. It's nothing short of astonishing what he managed to accomplish there in terms of normalizing relations between Israel and other countries. And of course, the reason that we've had the latest terrorist attack, October 7th, 2 years ago, was a result of the terror that Iran has, that Israel might add to the Abraham Accords to include Saudi Arabia. And that's what they're terrified of. These people are terrified of peace. But had Barack Obama secured the Abraham Accords, he would have been given the Nobel Peace Prize for that, but he had already been given it.
He already got it for just breathing.
Right.
They gave it to him. And so it is becoming, as you said, irrefutable. They're going to have to now, they're going to be looking at the Israel-Gaza conflict, I think, because a lot of the Europeans who make up, end up deciding on these prizes are not happy with what's happening in Gaza and Israel. There's, we had October 7th, a terrible attack, but we have over 60,000 Palestinians dead right now. And so there's a lot of consternation around that. And it's going to be much more difficult to resolve. But there is no question that Donald Trump has been very, very busy working on peace around the world. And he definitely deserves credit for that.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.